This is without a doubt the single most exciting book haul I have ever done in the 8 years that I have been on YouTube. The main reason this is the most exciting is because for most of these I had a lot of difficulties getting hold of them, and one of them basically didn't exist until recently, even though it was published in 1940s. Very, very excited. I'm going to go through them in no order, 2 of which I own. The rest are all library books. I cannot contain my excitement. So the first one is a lot thinner than I thought it would be, but that's perfectly fine because it's, you know, quality, not quantity. This is The Case of Lord Byron's Memoranda by Francis Scheidacker Moor. Now, Francis Scheidacker Moor wrote Lord Byron and Mary Chaworth, which I actually owned what I believe to be the only copy of, excluding the one that's in the British Library. Until recently I gave it to a friend. It was the manuscript, independently published, and there is a copy in the British Library. I bought the manuscript, the genuine original manuscript, for like £8 a couple of years ago on eBay, and it's incredible because Scheidacker Moor believes my views about Mary Chaworth and Byron. And this existed, which is all about Byron's Memoranda. If you don't know, very quickly backstory, after his death, Byron's memoirs were burned, destroyed, gone, because there was something in them that Byron's fan base, Byron's audience, literary critics were not allowed to know. You know, Murray burned everything, everything got destroyed. But this looks at what was announced. And I've had a quick flick through and I've not read it, but Moore makes some very interesting suggestions for what could have been in those memoirs that were so shocking that they had to be burned. And I'm looking forward to giving it a proper read. Then we have the second book, which I bought. This is the Cambridge Latin Course Book 2. The Book 1 I got out of my local library. They don't have Book 2. And I've got about 5 pages left of Book 1, and then I've essentially completed that one. And I get to move on to this one. And I thoroughly recommend these if you're beginning with Latin. They are so easy to follow. They're very easy to digest. They're in great chunks. And this was quite expensive. I mean, it was about £15, which is, you know, it's reasonable enough. I think there are maybe 6 of them in the series. And I can't wait to get started with it once I finish the other one. Okay, so these ones, some of these actually have very treacherous, long, laborious hunting around the library backstories to them, but the first one doesn't. It was just really long overdue. We have Carrington's letters. Dora Carrington, I love her so much. If you don't know who she is, she was kind of part of the Bloomsbury group, friends with Virginia Woolf, madly in love and lived with for a long time Lytton Strachey. After his death, she killed herself. Emma Thompson plays her in the film Carrington. I am about halfway through these letters, and yes, that is a picture of Carrington naked straddling some statue. I'm not entirely sure what the backstory of that is. I'm hoping it will be disclosed in here. This one is recently published, edited by Chisolm, and basically I reserved it from the library as soon as they had it on the catalogue. Somebody else beat me to it, and then they didn't hand it back in time. It took them 2 weeks to get it back overdue. Now I have it, and it was completely worth the wait. This one cost me 85p. My local library has a reservation fee, so if you reserve a book, or if they have to go down to the stacks to get a book that's not on display, it costs 85p. And this was the case with Radclyffe Hall. Radclyffe Hall is the cross-dressing lesbian who went by the name of John, who wrote the previously banned novel The Well of Loneliness, and I love her and I think she's fantastic. And this is a biography all about her. As you can see, I'm not overly far into it. I was really getting into it, but then Carrington's letters, I was told that it was ready to be picked up, so you know that became my priority. But I love her, and it is so fascinating. I think she's incredible, such a strong, powerful woman with a great sense of who she was. And if you're interested in her life, I thoroughly recommend this. This one is, the official title is Radclyffe Hall, A Woman Called John by Sally Cline. This one, in fact the next 2, I went round and round and round and round my local library. These books were not where they were meant to be. They were not in any logical place at all, and it drove me insane. Eventually, I found Lytton Strachey's Eminent Victorians. It was kind of roughly where it should have been, not with the Dewey Decimal, but it was in a reasonably logical place about Victorian history. It should have been in the literature section, but it wasn't. But that's fine. Very much looking forward to it. Very renowned, acclaimed book, and I think it's going to be a very interesting read. I've not actually read anything of what Strachey has written, so I'm not sure what his writing style is like, but I'm very much looking forward to it. Fun fact, Strachey used to live just 1 street away from me, but many, many years before I was born. And the last one is the second of the two that I just couldn't find, and I still to this day don't even know if it exists anymore because they had to ship it in from a different library because just nobody could find it. But it was on the catalogue, very odd. This is Mad Girl's Love Song, Sylvia Plath and Life Before Ted. Ted Hughes, her husband. I'm madly in love with Sylvia Plath and I want to know more about her life. I'm reading a collection of her short stories just now. I read and fell in love with The Bell Jar. Her poetry is hit or miss. She has some good poems. There's one about a panther, which I very much like, but I misinterpreted it. But that's another story. Really looking forward to this. As I said, I went to the library twice to find it. Both times couldn't. Gave up, asked at the desk. They couldn't find it. They ordered it in from elsewhere. And I just really hope it's worth the wait. I love them all. Definitely the most exciting book haul I have ever done. I am in love with these people so much. I'd love to know which books you're currently reading and more importantly which ones you would recommend, and I will speak to you all soon.